Brilliance Audio presents The Photographer by Petra Durst-Benning, translated by Edwin Miles, performed by Kathleen Gatti. I would like to ask you, dearest Minna, if you would do me the honor of being my wife. Heinrich Grohe took Mimi's hands in his and gazed eagerly into her eyes. Minna? Mimi thought. The only person who called her Minna was her mother, and then only when she was about to criticize her for something. Mimi fought back a nervous laugh. Heinrich was proposing marriage, and the only thing that occurred to her was to reproach him for not calling her by her nickname. Taking care not to overturn the small bouquet of freesias between them on the table, Mimi pulled her right hand from Heinrich's and reached for her glass of sparkling wine. The tiny bubbles burst on her tongue, exactly like the thoughts in her head, vanishing before she could grasp a single one. He beamed at her. That's caught you off guard, hasn't it? Now I know it's all a bit sudden, and I haven't spoken to your parents yet, but today's your birthday, and I thought to myself, well, this would be the perfect gift. He swept one hand in a grand gesture that took in the cafe in which they were sitting, the wine, the bouquet, and the two of them. A marriage proposal as a birthday present? Mimi blinked a few times as if to reassure herself that she was awake. In the winter sunlight that fell through the milky glass of the cafe window, Heinrich's shock of blonde hair glowed as if the good Lord had fitted him with a halo. Heinrich had met her at work at the Zemmer photographic studio at noon, just as he did almost every Saturday. Usually they sauntered through town for a while, looking into the windows of the elegant shops, and then they would stroll through the park. At the start of the month, salaries in their pockets, they would stop at one of the inexpensive inns dotted around Esslingen's market square to feast on the traditional tripe dish of Kutern or on roast potatoes and bacon. They generally split the bill because neither Heinrich, as the vicar in her father's parish, nor she, as an employee in a photo studio, earned very much. But what did it matter when you were young and in love? They made a handsome couple. Heinrich had blue eyes, a high forehead, and blonde hair. And she, Mimi Reventlow, daughter of the parish priest, a year younger than Heinrich at 26, had glossy chestnut-brown hair that she pinned up in an elegant style, and she always dressed as fashionably as she could afford. When they walked hand in hand through the streets of the old imperial town, people turned and stared. Ah, to be so young again, with a future ahead of you, Mimi read in their expressions. When Heinrich had picked her up from the studio, Mimi had thought of nothing but their usual Saturday jaunt, with perhaps the one difference being that Heinrich, since it was her birthday, would pay for lunch. He had presented her with a bouquet, wished her a happy birthday, and kissed her on the cheek. Instead of going to one of the inns that smelled of oily food, he had steered her to a stylish cafe and ordered a bottle of sparkling wine. Mimi had raised her eyebrows at that. Such an extravagance! How would she feel after drinking all that alcohol? And also how, dazed by the alcohol, would she manage to get up the steep road to the Esslinger Oberstadt, the upper part of town? A number of thoughts had gone through her mind, but never in her dreams would it have occurred to her that Heinrich would ask her to marry him.